Some people think staying home means you gave up on life, that you got boring, got lazy, and somewhere along the way stopped knowing how to have fun. Because every time someone asks what you're doing this weekend, your answer sounds the same. Probably staying in. Nothing much, just resting. And for some reason, that answer makes people deeply uncomfortable. They hear, "I'm staying home," and translate it as, "I'm lonely, I'm depressed, I have no life." But that's not always what's happening, because a lot of people who love staying home are not avoiding life. They're avoiding environments that drain them. That's the part most people miss. It's not that they hate people, don't care, or never want to go out. It's that being outside often comes with a cost. Noise, crowds, small talk, last-minute changes, having to react constantly, having to look engaged, having to be on. And some people can do that for hours and feel more alive after, but others walk away feeling like their brain has been scraped raw, not because they're weak, because their nervous system gets overloaded faster than other people's. For them, home is not a place where life stops. It's the one place where the performance stops. Out there, you adjust all day. You smile when you don't feel like smiling, answer questions you didn't want to answer, and pretend you're still having fun after your battery already died an hour ago. You manage the mood, the conversation, and how you're being read. And after enough of that, going home doesn't feel like missing out. It feels like finally being allowed to breathe normally again. That's why people who love staying home often describe the same feeling: relief. Not excitement, not thrill. Relief. The door closes. The shoes come off, the noise drops, and something inside them unclenches. That's not laziness, that's regulation. A lot of home-loving people are not looking for more stimulation. They're looking for less interference. Because when the outside world is too loud, too demanding, too unpredictable, even fun starts to feel like work. And that's another thing people get wrong. Some people don't stay home because they have a small life. They stay home because it's the only place where their mind finally has room to think. Some of the most introspective people you know look passive from the outside, but internally, they're not empty. They notice everything, replay conversations, think before they speak, and build entire worlds in silence. So while other people hear staying home and imagine boredom, what's actually happening might be focus, recovery, reflection, and peace. For some people, a quiet room is not a lack of life. It's where life becomes clear enough to feel. And yes, sometimes it starts earlier than adulthood. Some people grow up in loud homes, unpredictable homes, homes where peace never lasted long. So later in life, they become protective of calm. They don't just like quiet. They trust quiet. They don't just enjoy being alone. They feel safer when no one is demanding anything from them. And once you understand that, a lot of their behavior makes sense. Why they cancel plans they were excited about yesterday, hesitate before saying yes, and feel tired before the night even starts. It's not always the event itself. Sometimes it's the thought of having to be socially available for hours, having to perform energy they don't naturally feel, and stay switched on long after their mind is already asking to leave. So no, they're not always antisocial. A lot of them are just tired of environments that reward performance over honesty. They don't want to fake enthusiasm, force conversation, or leave feeling emptier than when they arrived. And home gives them something the outside world often doesn't: control. Their light, their music, their pace, their silence. No one pulling energy out of them. No pressure to respond instantly. No need to explain why they got quiet. Just enough stillness to become themselves again. But there is a harder truth here. Not everyone who stays home is at peace. Sometimes home is peace. And sometimes home is hiding. That's the line most people never talk about. Do you stay home because solitude fills you up? or because facing the world feels heavier than it should? Do you love quiet, or have you just become afraid of what happens to you in noisy places? Because those are not the same thing. One is restoration, the other is retreat. One helps you return to life stronger. The other slowly shrinks your life without asking permission. And if you're honest, a lot of people have been both. Sometimes staying home is healing. Sometimes it's a pause. Sometimes it's the only sane response to a world that asks too much. And sometimes, if you stay there too long, it becomes a beautiful prison. That's why loving home is not the issue. The real question is, what home means to you. Is it where you reconnect with yourself? Or is it where you go to disappear? Because people who genuinely love staying home are not broken. They just don't confuse noise with meaning. They don't need a crowded room to prove they're alive, constant plans to feel important, or attention all the time to know who they are. A peaceful evening, a familiar corner of the couch, a slow morning, a meal made in silence, light falling across the room at sunset. For them, that's not a sad life. That's a life that actually feels like theirs. So if you're someone who keeps choosing home, don't ask first whether other people understand it. Ask whether your solitude gives you energy or quietly steals your courage. Because one is peace, and the other only looks like peace from a distance. If this felt a little too accurate, subscribe and tell me in the comments, when you stay home, do you feel restored or hidden?